Welcome everybody after what was a long break back to our coverage of all wonderful Dota 2 events right here from the Join Dota Studios. Sina Cup is what's now here on Join Dota Red, and my co-caster, my man who has been casting most of the Sina Cup early matches over on Join Dota Blue, Mon Capitalist, the fan of the people.
Fan of the people?
Well, actually, no, the people are a fan of you. It goes the other way around, doesn't it? Yeah, it actually goes both ways.
So last night.
Recent Reddit threader glorified caster, Mon Capitalist will be casting with me today.
And next week there's going to be a big old hate thread about me.
Yeah.
I always see it in the future.
You did that actually in 1 week. It went from flame to love.
Yeah.
And then we come back to flame again, and then the love again. Because you know what Savage Garden said. If you don't, well, too bad for you.
Milk's like, apparently you're Reddit's new messiah right now. And I was like, yeah, I can't wait until the crucifixion next week.
Oh! Holy crap!
It's good, right? It's good.
That's wonderful!
Came back with that instantly.
Oh, that's so true! Oh, I have faith in that religion. Alright, let's look at our game. I'm glad we're back here again today, casting together. Good time around. Alright, LAI Gaming. Now, I cast these guys earlier today. They are on the receiving end of a very large stick being held by Newbie and being rather impaled into certain parts where sun does not touch. Vici
So they got the Tong Fu treatment, is that what you're saying?
Yes, they got the Tong Fu treatment from yesterday. As far as Vici Gaming goes, they, on the other hand, had a really good series. They had a really, really good series. A little bit off when they first started up. There was a little bit of problems with coordination between Fender and FY. With an SD Mirana combination. And then after that point, it just didn't really matter. They just steamrolled absolutely everything. So,
10 seconds remaining.
Actually, sorry, it wasn't. That was actually Newbie who had the coordination problems. VG Gaming actually had no problems. FY's Rubik, in fact, was one of the greatest Rubiks I've seen in a long time.
Oh, that sounds like FY.
That was FY.
That guy is an amazing Rubik player.
He had the Rubik up against the Centaur. There was the first time Centaur uses ultimate. He gets a perfect grab, 3 heroes running after him, and he gets the perfect grab, throws the hero back into the other 2 guys that were chasing after him, so he actually controls one, stuns the other 2, and also, next time the Stampede was used, he stole it almost instantly. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. This time around, they're going to bypass the Rubik in favor of a more solid combination. So it's going to be the Death Prophet as well as the Faceless Void here. With VG Gaming, it is almost 100% that will be an Ice Faceless Void. As far as LAI goes, Centaur, Shaman, Initiation, Control, a little bit of push, but VGF the combo.
Yeah, this is a pretty dangerous combination to give away from Vici Gaming, honestly. I can't believe they were willing to do that, especially their trade-off being that they pick up the Centaur, who is, hey, he's an amazing offlaner right now, but up against certain other offlaners, his ultimate is really not that impressive. So, such as, you know, the Tidehunter or the Faces Void, 2 of the best offlaners to be running with the Death Prophet. The problem with the Death Prophet right now, and this is something that Misery and Bulba brought up yesterday, is they both kind of agreed that Death Prophet is one of the strongest openings here in the current draft, if not the strongest opening. Because I think part of the reason is that we didn't get fully in depth into it, but I think part of the reason is that as your second pick, you can get the Tidehunter or the Faceless Void. Both of them are not going to be banned away. Right, so you're going to be able to get to either one of those, right? The Ravage is a really good holding ability, the Chronosphere also being very amazing as well. So either way, you get this really good initiator with the Death Prophet, this mass holding ability, and the Death Prophet is just able to eat through these heroes with the Exorcism. And the Centaur, or Stampede, obviously, is going to be doing very little for you when the Faceless Void locks you down with the Chronosphere.
Yeah, because obviously you're locked completely in position with that one. You're right when you think about it that way. Explains a little bit more about the popularity of Death Prophet. Right now we're moving through our bans though. Warlock is going to be removed out by VG Gaming. So maybe LAI been playing around with that a little bit. Or they're just realizing how powerful Warlock is. But the Viper, the Enigma, and the Invoker, all standard bans really coming out against this lineup. VG Gaming actually have 2 really great Invoker players, both Black as well as Super.
Yeah, I would say I would side with Super being the better Invoker player personally, but either way, it doesn't matter here because LAI Gaming have already banned it away. They're also going to take away the Enigma, who has been a popular pickup so far in the games that I've been casting. Seems like the Chinese scene is going back to the big-time team fights. So they already had the Faceless Void that was very popular. Tide Hunter increasing in popularity, it seems like, day by day, as he's gone from like a third, fourth pickup to now seeing early bans and even the 1-2 pickup as well. So, and then the other one being the Enigma, which was being favored quite highly. LAI Gaming are going to be running a one-position Centaur, though, all of a sudden, and they revealed that really early on.
This keeps happening with these guys. This happened early on, and I wasn't 100% certain about the bans that were coming out during the game. Because it really seemed to be weird, because they banned the Clockwork even though the Centaur was picked up, and as well as the Bat Rider was also being selected, and it's like, and then they would still ban the Clockwork. Because it seems like gaming, like running this Bat Rider off lane as a support while someone else sits in the lane as like a normal core, and they just switch over for a little bit of their farm. So they end up running something more along the lines of a 4-core lineup with a heavy support, as in a support that could be a carry, it could just be like a big playmaker.
Reserve time.
And maybe this is just something LAI Gaming want to do. I so far haven't watched a game of theirs where this has worked, but either way,
10 seconds.
the Clockwork pickup with the Centaur, now with the Ember. So all lanes are starting to be pretty obvious, but Nemba Spirit as well. If that flame casting up when he gets chronoed, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. And then you get a Bane. Then look, this is Vici Gaming searching for an easy lockdown controller. It's a good initiation early on because of the combination with Nightmare into Arrow. So pickoffs are they're galore for the Vici Gaming lineup. And the pushing power they got into towers is really, really strong. As opposed to LAI Gaming. Ember Spirit, until he gets a large amount of damage, there's no physical DPS coming out from these guys. It's your first hit. And if that doesn't work, there's nothing else to follow up with.
I have no idea why they pick up the Ember Spirit. I have zero idea why they would do that when you already have a Faceless Void on the other side. Faceless Void is one of the best counters to the Ember Spirit. You slide a fist, you leave yourself exposed to any of those AoE holds. Like, you can easily just jump in as Enigma Black Hole where he's going to wind up with the Sleight of Fist ending. Chronosphere, and the Chronosphere with the Death Prophet included. Like, Ember Spirit, the only reason he's viable in the first 20 minutes of the game is because of his Flame Guard being so powerful. I mean, it soaks up so much magic damage that it actually makes you really tankier than many other heroes because magic damage is usually such a priority early on in the first 20 minutes. But here, you're talking about so much physical damage. The Death Prophet, if they get a Chronosphere, they're going to rip through this Ember Spirit so quickly. And, I mean, I know they've got a very aggressive lineup, so it's possible the Ember Spirit can snowball from here, but I don't really see it being the best, and I have no idea what's going on now.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about, where they seem to run a full 4-core. And they pick so many offlane heroes. This won't be a jungle prophet. In fact, I'm almost certain this is going to be a semi-support Clockwork on the offlane. And Vici Gaming then just go into the Tuskar.
Nice.
This is something which we've been watching MMY's group play a lot. But
the Weapon X Tuskar, man, is... Jesus.
Just so everyone's also happy in the chat, the other reason why we weren't flagging Ice as the third Invoker player in the lineup is because the Void was already picked.
Void. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So there's just some sticklers in the chat.
Yeah, people like to be like, oh my God, Ice. You know, he's such an amazing Invoker, but chances are, like in the lineups that he's been in, the Invoker's usually been given away to somebody else because he has a more important offlane role to fulfill. So.
He's the jump in initiator controller. Like if you're gonna give a safe lane, like if you do it a safe lane and Black has something more like the Mirana, for example, then sure you go the aggro tri lane, you're good to go. I should also note too that it is actually going to be the Mirana played by Black, which makes me think this is just going to be a full 5-man movement from VG Gaming up north. Try and find some kind of opening, and then just pummel it through. Ice will go down to the bottom lane, carrying his little lightning rod, the Maelstrom.
God, when are we going to see this support Tuskar making its rotation into the Western scene? It is so much fun to watch, and it is so good. Like, seriously, Snowball is this, like, amazing, like, team-saving, initiating tool that, like, it's the whole reason that hero is a thing. is because of Snowball. Like, he's going to be leveling up Frozen Sigil, most likely. He'll be going for a 1-1-4 build, where the Sigil is really powerful, especially in a lot of these early fights, where you have so many heroes that are very... Like, the meta right now is running a lot of heroes that are a lot more physical damage oriented than we would normally see. It used to be the old meta was, like, primarily magic damage focused, a lot of nuking power, and then you would see your physical damage dealers not really come online until 35 minutes. Now we have a lot more early, like such as the Furions being a much more early build with the Null Talisman. We have like heroes like Viper and Razor and these sort of heroes which are very like right-click focused. And so that Frozen Sigil is a huge gimping factor in many of these team fights. But the Sigil being buffed up doesn't necessarily mean it still feels like the Snowball is the most important part of the support Tuskar. And it's just that you don't level it up because it doesn't really scale that well. It gets you an extra 40 extra damage plus an extra 10 damage from allies. It's not very much extra damage overall. And then the stun duration is so minimal increase that it doesn't really matter. Neither is the cooldown decrease either.
How is there a net worth advantage here in the way of...
Did they kill a...
Nope.
True. Okay. Jesus.
Yeah.
What
I know.
So many missing items?
It was... Well, unless they screwed up the money at the start, because it's the net worth difference. But the fact there's a 300 one-way means that someone has to have just blown something, unless it's because of ward placement. Because you've actually bought and placed wards, it takes away your net worth. That'll be it. That'll be it. No use to this normal graph. It's just normally earned money, which means when you see a 300, it's like, what the hell is that?
Yeah. I mean, I guess when you burn through those consumables, technically you're decreasing your net worth, so...
Correct.
Change of the graph, making things...
just making life difficult.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, well, aggro tri-lane is now in place for Vici Gaming. FY is the man on the front lines. Again, a Nightmare already over on the Nature's Prophet. The line of the arrows on the way in with the Ice Shards and Super. He's basically locked in a pit of death at the moment. They're beating him down. FY wants to come in closer, but he's being a little bit cautious about the Hoof Stomp. Super wants to cut his way out of this one, but it won't work while Black low on life because the Shadow Shaman in with the shock, but he'll pop the Salve, regenerating up quickly, leaps away, disjoints the attack to keep the Salve going. Now Black can go for a secondary arrow if he wants to, but he doesn't require it. The Shaman will die being locked again in the Ice Path. Or the Ice Wall, the Ice Shards, that thing. So it's 2-0 in favor of the aggro trialing of VG Gaming. And nicely played by Black.
Yeah, very well done, especially with that leap disjoining the hit that was going to disable his potion. They are so far ahead now. That Icicle Shards, man, it is an amazing ability. And he's now got that Snowball. So as soon as you hit level 2 on a Tuskar, you actually have a lot of roaming potential. Because Ice Shards is a really good long range, like both of his abilities are very long range initiating tools. He actually doesn't go for the Snowball, surprisingly enough. He goes for the Frozen Sigil instead.
They're going to force the battle on the top lane just by presence.
Right.
If you get a good Ice Shards off you, you're basically good to go. I also don't know what the hell it's going to go on with Super, as I've just also had a flashback to our earlier game today, and it was actually Super running the support Nature's Prophet on the off lane. I know that sounds really weird, but it's harassing him out, just leeching a couple of levels, and then just TP wherever there was potential for a gank. Which is not what happened there, because he didn't level up TP first, he went for the trees to start with. But you went jungle with 1 clarity. That's not jungle Prophet. You can't run jungle Prophet with 1 clarity.
No, it's pretty bad. I don't know, maybe this is something they've tried out in scrims and it's worked really well in the past, but it's, as you said, it hasn't seemed to work out too well for them in the last couple of officials you've casted. I don't see really how it's going to work out for them here. Vici Gaming just kind of overwhelmed this defense.
XTD's in trouble. The Ice Shards are coming up. Nightmare, Black moves into a good position for the arrow. The Nightmare will be taken off, allows him to move at the last moment, but now this makes it so Shadow Shaman is a long way out. The Sigil slowing him down. There's no mana for a Brain Sap, so they just tick away at the Shaman as well as the Centaur. But lucky to survive that.
Yeah, in that situation, I'm looking at it and going, maybe Snowball. I really don't see how the slow of the Frozen Sigil, it's only a 10% movement speed slow at level 1, so I really don't see how that's better than being able to have an additional stun.
And this time the arrow will connect. There's no support hero around him, and XTD is a little bit too far out. He'll hoof stomp on FY, but Mirana will get the last connection in. I also want to flag the fact, too, that Ice is becoming point-blank range into the Clockwork. Because Clockwork went 2 points up in the Rocket Barrage, as opposed to the Battery Assault. Or Rocket Flare, sorry, as opposed to Battery Assault. Which means Ice feels very, very free to come in close up against him anyway.
Yeah, and he's going for the full Rocket build, which is, you know, risky. Like, the Clockwork I would almost say this is more of like a farm-oriented build on the Clockwork, just because being able to have level 7 and have maxed out Battery Assault gives you that instant kill potential. You don't really need any extra items, but yeah, you could see Ice really just abusing XTT over and over again.
Yeah, he knows what XTT is built into. Because the Battery Assault wants to at least trigger it off once, or the rocket damage will also be a flag. Right now, there's a little bit more trouble for a Shadow Shaman. These Ice Shards make it so difficult to run away. It ensures the kill for Super. One Crib Swarm, and now he cracks level 6.
And now all FY needs is just mana. He's just going to continue to roam around. The relatively low mana cost, I mean, the Ice Shards isn't that big of a deal, and seeing as he's not actually using Snowball, just the Sobi mask by himself, or the Sage's mask rather, is giving him enough regen to constantly stay in lane. He doesn't have to go back, meaning these rotations, when they're successful, he's actually getting a pretty big boost in experience due to all of this, because he hasn't had to go back. He's been in lane, he's been a part of these kills, and he's going to be picking up his level 6 here fairly quickly if this continues.
He can be picking up level 6, but look at XDD. Like, this guy's... he's still working his way to level 6, but more importantly, he's getting no money whatsoever. You're not going to see Tranquil Boots over on this Centaur, let alone a Blink Dag within the next 20 minutes. If the game continues the way it's going at the moment.
Right, which is why the Clockwork needs to start rotating around and shaking things up a little bit.
Oh, he's going to try and find an opening here in middle lane. At the same time, Tusker, though, he's got a Snowball available. He's coming close towards Super, and, well, speak of the other Super, already there in middle lane. The Nature's Prophet TPing himself in. And the Observer Wall will be dropped. Looks like Death Prophet just needs a moment. Something is not quite right here. And, well...
a bit of lag.
I'm glad Black has learned Chinese by now. Lago! Lago!
But yeah, you're right. If the Clockwork jumps here, there's nothing he can do. Unless he manages to get off the cogs and bounce FY back, the Snowball will probably protect him. I mean, the Snowball will probably protect him.
Ice Shards. Spirit. Over the top. Is it? No point up in silence. Oh, Super had one. He just didn't cast it. He didn't have mana for it, really. He's got 2 bottle charges, but he want more life points taken away. Yeah. This time they will use the silence. With the Crib Swarm, with the Brain Sap, it's more than enough damage. And then even a DD rune going the way of the Death Prophet.
Yeah, so if you weren't getting enough farm already, sitting at 32 and 11 over the 19 and 3 Ember Spirits, well, now you've got yourself a double damage rune to ensure even more last hits and more harassment onto that enemy hero. Now, XTD is still kind of sitting here in the mid lane. When you reveal your positioning by the Clockwork like this, it's so unlikely for you to get a kill, especially since he has very little solo kill potential with his maxed out Rocket Flare build. The maxed out Rocket Flare is able to give you a lot more harassment, I would say, in lane and give you a decent amount of extra farm just because you could spam it out at certain times, but it doesn't give you the same amount of kill potential that a maxed out Battery Assault does.
This is why I don't know why he's doing this, because the harassment's not going to do anything against these guys. Like, you bring them low, they just like regenerate straight back up again. It's and then who's been if you could harass somebody down, then you could at least try a pounce. Like, you hookshot it in, but so far I haven't seen XTT use his hookshot even once. There was a chance in the mid lane where I was like, maybe he could, but then it was Vici Gaming who became the initiator. So far, LAI Gaming haven't initiated anything. They're looking for it. There's an observer ward over in the middle lane, so they can see where everyone's moving. But Clockwork's finding no space to really get the hit off, and in the meantime, they've also given the Shadow Shaman the impossible job of laning up against Ice. This is a guy with Chronosphere off cooldown and a Shadow Shaman at level 4 with only boots. You're not going to survive if he jumps you. Even if there's no full time locks, you're still going to go down.
Yeah. I love the Orb of Venom pickup, by the way. In these melee 1v1 matchups, Orb of Venom is a must, I would say. Faceless Void is able to make a lot of use of. Just think if he gets in like an extra 2 or 3 hits while he's chasing away a hero, those 2 or 3 hits could be a time lock. You get a time lock, XTD is actually going to grab the haste rune.
He's going to get silenced, but that haste rune, maybe he doesn't get himself away from this. He will. Or outside the Ice Shards. It's probably the only way he would have escaped from that if it wasn't a haste rune.
You notice Super's build as well. He went for the build that we often...
No. Nothing's going to come from it.
Yeah.
There's 2 back behind the tower. But yeah, which super are we talking about here?
Super, regular super. For those guys who don't know, the
Regular super?
regular super is Vici Gaming super.
The Prophet's going to TP in, and now unregular super is locked in with regular super with a little bit of extra help. And then Ice just stops it, but the Flame Guard is burning out super, and then super dies as Nature's Prophet. And Ice will leap himself away to safety. And then also at the same time, XTD is going to drop on the top lane. The Sigil's slowing him down too much. They got Nightmare off cooldown in 1 second time, but the arrows from Black, they're hitting hard with those face boots already in him. So it ends up being 7 for 1 on the board now.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, super on the Vici Gaming side is the regular super. He's been around the Chinese scene for a while. The other super from LAI Gaming, I like to refer to him as the other super, or super, because he had an exclamation point on his name at one point in time, is formerly from the Dream Team, Dream Time team.
That didn't sound complicated at all. Yeah. They're coming in for the Ember Spirit. He's only just triggered his Flame Card, so more than likely they won't want to go straight away. But with a Fiend's Grip over on the Bane, you got a Shaman going to come in. He's gonna put an end to this. And Fenrir, he gets Searing Chains, he gets hook shotted. He tried to go for the Brain Sap, but he didn't even get that one off with the Battery Assault stalling him up for a little bit.
Good reaction by LAI Gaming, but that was 4 heroes in the middle lane. Meanwhile, Super is pushing in the bottom lane, and we have Black farming up the top lane. It's nice that they can group up like that and punish some Vici Gaming aggression, but Vici Gaming next time just won't try and throw off that aggression, and they'll just buy time while their side lanes just keep on farming.
And LAI Gaming can't allow this to keep happening. I'm looking at a Prophet. This makes me weep. This makes me weep. A Ring of Basilius and boots only for a Nature's Prophet. 10 minutes into the game. Like, most starts you get on a Nature's Prophet can always be a little bit rough, but this is beyond rough.
Yeah.
And now they're actually having their experience, not only just leech one way, but leech 2 ways. Considering FY was just sitting there with an Invis rune. So that's not really what Ember was searching for. And there's also a bit of a lane change up. Like you said before, Super's on the bottom lane. He's just trying to find his level 9. And he's only a creep wave away from that. If that. Like 2 creeps maybe. And there she is, level 9. So he can trigger his Exorcism if he wants to. And force the bottom tower. They have a catapult behind him. And there's also a trip hero smoke coming down to the bottom lane. Searching for other Super.
Surprised they're not wrapping around behind the tower, but they well, maybe not. They may not be able to pick off the Furion. He's sitting pretty far back.
I don't think right now the pick off on the Furion is a primary objective. Get the fortification out of him. And just take the tier 1 tower. If they don't fortify, push the tier 2 tower. Then again, the Exorcism, I gotta remember this is only a level 1. Top lane, Black, being initiated on Ice. It's a Trip Man Chrono. They've already lost the Mirana, but he's gonna buy back and instantly TP back into the game. And now Fiend's Grip on the Centaur. Just as he tried to trigger the ulti and run himself away, the Moonlight Shadow was allowing Vici Gaming to trace it a little bit further in. Ice final hit to get that one. The arrow's coming up, and it hits. Oh, wow. He tried to dodge. The arrow for the ward there helps out Black to make sure he's going to get 100% in the right line. And all LAI Gaming can try and do is do a trade-off. Tier 1 tower middle lane, they'll get the fortification out of the Radiant side, but that's probably where she ends, as Super comes back to the mid lane. And the Fist to Chain was also missing on that one.
Yeah. Naturally, Vici Gaming are just going to be able to control the early game so much better, and off of the Exorcism, take down these early towers, and we'll start snowballing from there. And you don't necessarily have the better late game here for LAI Gaming. LAI Gaming have the better mid game. But if Vici Gaming manages to take down these towers, there's really no advantage LAI Gaming will ever have. Even going into late game where Ice, well, he's going to find an additional kill here.
Yeah, trapped in the corner though, being hexed up. Shackles as well. They need to get him free of this one. The Ice Shards, actually splitting up the tree line. He leaps away, but the Wrath of Nature able to catch him on the way out. Not to mention the burn from the Ember Spirit, which actually is the thing that gets the last hit.
Yeah, that extra bit of chains damage was just enough to finish him off. Was hoping to see a snowball attempt at a save, but you notice both of these supports are able to save their allies, both the invulnerability flames from the sleep as well as the snowball. You can actually save an ally who should be dead for about 5 seconds, between the 4 seconds of snowball and the 1 second of vulnerability from Nightmare. It's a pretty insane combination that still gives you a lot of offensive power, especially when it's paired up with the Mirana like it is, as they have such easy setup with the Mirana, and their holding abilities also make it really easy for the Death Prophet to target somebody down with the Exorcism.
Ice wants to make a play on the bottom lane. He's got a Chronosphere available. He'll need some more help, though, if he's going to try and get a kill.
Yeah, he's got a Mask of Madness. It does give him, to some extent, solo kill power, especially against a squishy hero like Nature's Prophet.
And there's Super. Reveals himself. Ice. He wants to jump, but at the same time, he also wants to be distraction, because Vici Gaming is still pushing in the top lane. And now, there's your jump. Goes for the Chrono. TP is on the way in. That's going to be the Death Prophet arriving. There's actually 3 other heroes here for LAI Gaming. I say 2 other heroes to join him. The Super triggers the haste room. Yule Scepter up. Well, I don't know if that actually completely screwed up the arrow, but either way, FY goes on a killing spree as the Tuskar, and it's 2 kills in total coming the way of VG Gaming.
You notice the way the Ice Shards works here. When it blocks out a hero, not only does it prevent them from escaping, but they also have to run back into the enemy. That works so well for Exorcism because it forces the enemy to get close range to the Death Prophet. And we've talked about this before, but the damage from the Exorcism actually does vary. It's based on distance more than anything else, where the ghosts actually have to hit the enemy unit and then come back to the Death Prophet before they go out again. So when you have these units, usually that's why the Centaur ultimate is so good versus Death Prophet, because you get these heroes that just run themselves away, and the ghosts will just chase and you lose out a lot of your damage. That's why it's so important to have these holding abilities. That's why the Faceless Void is such a good combining hero with the Death Prophet, and that's what also makes the Tuskar really strong support, both when it comes to holding heroes with Ice Shards, but as well as protecting his Death Prophet with the Snowball later on.
Almost waiting for the time when he triggers Exorcism, and it should travel with the Snowball, shouldn't it?
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you got 5 seconds of invulnerability on top of the Yule Scepter as well, and then the repositioner.
Yeah, can you even kill the Death Prophet? Like, Jesus, the Yule Scepter, I kind of forgot about the fact that he has that, so another 2.5 seconds of invincibility frames.
Yeah, if you just start adding all these things up, you wonder if the initiation can work if everyone else is there, and then you still got the Nightmare protection for a little bit, so you can shift the aggro around as well. So with all these different things together, it does kind of feel like the Death Prophet's got a free game. Now Void, gonna jump up. He's looking for just some lucky time locks. He's got the Chrono available too, and just making sure no one else can come and stop him, man. It looks like that TP that was coming in came from the middle lane. It was a denied up. There's gonna be XTD gonna come in, and now Hookshot in. And a latch perfectly into FY. He's got Snowball and jumps into it. Ember will also follow him up in the Snowball. He goes out towards the Shadow Shaman and splits the fight up. And if they chase him right now, they leave their Mass Serpent Wards to get farmed up in FY. The Moonlight Shadow actually protects him. He throws the Ice Shards trying to control him here. And Black will mop up the rest of the creep wave. But a beautiful play again by FY, just causing them to, LAI Gaming to be not uncertain about themselves. Where the hell do they want to go with that? They wanted to get the kill, but then they want the tower, and now they don't get both.
Yeah, I feel like part of the problem with the Tuskar right now, and part of the reasons he's so strong, is people aren't reacting very well to the Snowball. It's a strange ability that most of the professional players are not used to be dealing with. Tuskar's a relatively new hero to Dota 1, and is even... I don't think XD...
No, they're going to turn for this one. The Ice Shards are actually going to trap him in for a little bit. Not enough, though, but Super does commit the ultimate. He's going to want to push this creep wave up as quickly as he possibly can. There's only one creep alive, though, after the rocket comes in from the clockwork.
But, for example, in that scenario, the Tuskar will always target one of the range heroes on the basically he's trying to get distance from the rest of the enemy, right? So he's going to target the farthest unit away. In this case, it was the Shadow Shaman. In these sort of situations, you need to actually group up. You don't want to be splitting yourself too much, or else the Tuskar can have an easy just snowball on that one hero and then run himself away like he did. You need to actually stay close, grouped up together, because if Tuskar breaks his snowball, he hits the Shadow Shaman, but he's surrounded by 4 heroes, so there's no way he's surviving in that scenario.
Yeah, but that scenario didn't really go that way. Midtown does go the way of the Ember Spirit. Actually triggered a drum charge to make sure they can get the kill on that too. Well, Nature's Prophet going to go for a little bit of the modified build as far as the Blade Mail goes.
Right.
Either that or he's now decided that he's the only one that can buy the mech for the team. Which may actually be the better alternative here. Because he's only got the one null talisman and the Ring of Basilius. But having a Blade Mail in this matchup...
Bottom tower is under attack.
I still think it's good.
They're dropping sentries. They're wondering where the hell... There you go, Slider Fist. They found Ice in the tree line. Yeah, he had no vision whatsoever around him. But they realized something broke. And Death Prophet now just denies the tower and gets all the way back, or as far as possible. Sleight of Fist Syrian Chain connects. Super. He's still got a Yule Scepter revival.
Whoa,
Goes
Yule
up and towards
Scepter.
the air, a little bit early though. And that's going to allow the double edge to go to work. Nightmare, FY. There's still 5 heroes here from LAI Gaming. They'll trap Super inside the ice shards. He'll walk himself out of it. And the Mass Open Wards go down again. In range of the tower, but the creep wave's still coming in. And LAI Gaming going to get some really good momentum off this, especially when you can get a Sleight of Fist Syrian Chain like that.
Uh-oh.
And the Tuskar's hiding.
The downfall of the snowball here.
Oh, he's going all the way. As far as he possibly can, but now he's in the middle of the 4 heroes. Ice shutting him around. They're still not bringing down... Okay, now the tower does go down. But Black killed off the mid tower in the meantime. I'm not going to say it's the greatest trade in the world, considering how many heroes they actually lost to Vici Gaming. But considering how bad they could have been, not a bad trade-off for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is why the back in Dota 1, I remember there was actually discussion. I can't remember who the professional players were, but the Dota 1 about the Tuskar. And the reason he wasn't picked up is he was generally considered too risky because of the way Snowball works. You can't necessarily control where you're going. So if a hero, say, Arrow, never mind. If a hero is able to like blink himself farther back and the snowball just chases you for a while and you end up in a really bad position because of it, you're kind of screwed. But the support Tuskar, especially with the change of the snowball, you no longer just randomly pick up allies. You actually choose whether or not you pick them up. Makes a big difference, but also the support Tuskar. Where in that scenario, yeah, you kind of got screwed by snowball, but at the end of the day, it's still just a support dying, which isn't that big of a deal. Good pickoff though in the Centaur.
He was just sitting there farming on like 100, 200 life points. I didn't even need all 3 heroes at the end of the day. All they needed was the ice shards out from FY. Looks like Super's going to move up towards the mid lane with level 2 ultimate now in the 4 points Witchcraft. They want the tier 2 tower. And they need more map control up against this lineup. Not to mention it's also to help out with the money.
Yeah, certainly they don't want to let this Ember Spirit just get a whole bunch of farm. They're already doing a great job shutting him down. 20 minutes in, he is... Not only is he... doesn't have his Battle Fury yet, he's not even close to it. He's got 2k gold, he can pick up a Perseverance or one of the damage items, but in general, he's very far behind. And if they can just continue to build this tower gold lead, Ember Spirit...
Oh, you got 2 in that one. The arrow will connect and kill the Shadow Shaman. Instantly, Ice moves down to the clockwork. Snowball also a little bit late there by FY, but either way, it's still 2 heroes down. And they'll just start chipping away at the tower. But at the same time, the Aegis Prophet does the right thing. Drags the Radiant Creep Wave back with his army of Treants. Which means VG Gaming can't instantly capitalize on the heroes being dead.
Could just mean, though, if LAI Gaming isn't prepared, this next push is going to give them a lot of cover for them to just beat on this tier 2. And it could still fall. LAI Gaming have to choose whether or not it's worth it for them to try and fight. I think it is, personally.
VG are coming up for the kills. At least Black is considering it. And there you go, called back over, though. They want the objective, and that's the tier 2 tower in the middle lane. Ember's on the defense. He actually went for both his damage shielding items before picking up the Perseverance. And, well, VG Gaming, they got no jump in yet on the Bane. Maybe when he's got himself a Blink Dagger, this will be a lot easier for VG Gaming. For now, they're going to be a little bit more defensive about it all. And then, in fact, there's already TPs out coming towards the mid lane. Just LAI Gaming regenerating up. They just probably still pushing at that top lane. And the tower will be destroyed by the Dire Fenrir. He started the animation for his Fiend script, but cancelled it halfway through. And now they're being chased. Sleight of Fist Syrian Chain connects on FY as well as Black. They'll just trigger the Moonlight Shadow. Try and stick away from anyone that could do something like that. An easy pick-off kill.
Radiant's top tower
Vici Gaming seemed to lack a little bit of coordination there during that extraction. As, wow, Ice just demolishes that Shadow Shaman. Now going to take his words for good measure, too.
Easy money, man. It really, really is easy money. Look at the highest net worth. 3 heroes over 9k for Vici Gaming. As far as the rest of LAI Gaming goes, well, they do own the next 4 slots, but it's 8k and then 654. Alright, they're not looking that great in that front. In fact, the experience is reaching up about 10,000, and the gold's cracked around 8.5 to 9k.
There. And I can't say I'm too surprised. Like, I give Vici Gaming the better late game as well, just because naturally the Faceless Void is such a good counter to the Ember Spirit. So there was going to be a short period of time, like 20 minutes into the 30-minute mark, where Ember Spirit would be a bit better of a carry than Faceless Void in some regards, but eventually Faceless Void is going to start getting enough farm that he'll always be able to just solo down the Ember Spirit, because he's a very squishy hero. He's very susceptible to a lot of this early physical damage. He doesn't necessarily have the highest armor gain in the world. His strength is not very good either, so he can just really be bursted down every single time a Chronosphere is laid on him. Now, he may have a Battle Fury, and I guess their biggest hope for this game is to go into the super late game at this point, because they didn't win the laning phase. They're falling apart in the mid game. They're not going to be able to gain control back, I would say, unless Vici Gaming makes some seriously big mistakes. The problem is there's so much tower, so many towers left for Vici Gaming to take. They're really going to grow that gold lead even further. Once they take the last couple of tier 2s here, they can go back to Roshan as well, and that'll allow the Faceless Void to dive in even more aggressively.
And when that happens, man, LAI Gaming would just be wanting to tap out and say, let's go to game number 2. Well, we'll try our luck down the lower bracket if we can't win that one either. But Super, this is not where he wants to be farming as the Nature's Prophet, especially with the boar coming in. So Black focuses on first killing off the boar, and then they move over to the Nature's Prophet. And Black will get the last hit now, and even connects an arrow. It's only couple of seconds stunned, but if the Bane was ready for it, he could have moved up and got the Fiend's Grip. And they would have been looking at 2 cores going down while the Clockwork jumps on Ice. He'll leap himself away. Potentially could have Chrono, but they'll use the Moonlight Shadow for protection anyway. And Vici don't want to lose anybody. They're taking the tier 2 tower on bottom lane. And now with the Sentry Ward, well, they'll find Fenrir. He can't get far enough away. The arrow will connect, and now Void is a 2-man Chrono and Clockwork. He walked into the back of it, and now Ice start beating him up. He runs over to Clockwork, first hit in the bash. Black's right behind him, but the Cogs will keep him away. Leap in 1 second, jumps over the top. He can't reach the Clockwork yet, but does see he cuts his way up through the tree line. And the Tuskar's on his way up too. Look for those ice shards. It's going to block him. Blocks him perfectly. For the arrow combination from Black. Coordination from VG Gaming really seems to be on the mark today.
22-10. Pretty one-sided performance here from Vici Gaming. It's just a slow taking of control of the map. And yeah, they're growing such a huge gold lead and experience lead at this point. I would love to see FY pick up a Blink Dagger, because I think that item is so incredibly good with the natural saving function of the snowball, but he's actually built into some of his more natural stat items, Phase Boots and Urn of Shadows, to be able to increase their sustainability when they push down towers. May even be going for drums first before the Blink Dagger, but I think that item is kind of essential, just like it is for a Bane. Fenrir already has his Blink Dagger, as positioning is going to be so key for them, so even if they don't get the Chronosphere on the Ember Spirit, there's still going to be a Bane ultimate that can hold him in and just as easily kill him. And I guess that means we have to wait and see Super.
Ember Spirit doesn't care about Flame Guard by size. Physical DPS, why would you care? Just beats the crap out of him. And that's now Ember on the sideline for 50 seconds. You got the Death Prophet ulti off cooldown, which means either you're taking that tier 2 tower in the top lane, or you're considering going high ground to the tier 3 tower in mid.
XDD, he's going to try something here and try and go for the pickoff on Mirana, but notice you have a Manta on Black. This actually means he's a bit tankier than Mirana should be at this point. So he needs some extra help.
Hex, Centaur ulti, Shackles, Hoof Stomp, Double Edge. He's holding onto it. Right. And they do bring him down. A lot of support was on the way from VG Gaming. They'll find a haste rune for FY. Not bad for movement speed. He'll snipe it out, but the Death Prophet, is she going to come down here? They don't really want to be forced to the bottom lane, however. They want the tier 2 tower up on top, or they push the entire way on bottom lane and look for the tier 3 tower down there. Like, that's the only options we're looking at the moment. And the Observer Ward from Shadow Shaman. He's into the trees, but the Sigil scouts him out. Ice Shards to clean up the tree line, instantly into the snowball. Especially once he sees the Centaur is here. Rolls himself in for the Polar Punch, and then just an easy Crimp Swarm from Super. Yules is up in towards the air. That's going to be the Clockwork. Does not want to lock himself in here. Tries to point-blank range hookshot himself away. But now, well, Fenrir just nightmares him up. Turns it off, and then Super's ulti goes to work. And Clockwork just gets ripped apart. Double kill in for Super.
They were forced to use the exorcism outside of the base, but at this point in time, it's so early in the game, it doesn't really matter. Right, we're not getting desperate for time on the side of Vici Gaming. It's not like... Now, LAI Gaming is doing the right thing, which is they have to push aggressively against Vici Gaming. Look for those kind of pickoffs like they started off with the Mirana. That was a really smart move by them, but in general, they kind of have to continue to go for this flip push and go and try and force these fights on the Vici Gaming side of the map, because if Vici Gaming ever get in front of a tier 3 tower with 4 or 5 heroes and an exorcism ready to burn, they're probably going to take the racks from there. So they just kind of have to push for the mega late game, hope that the Ember Spirit can get a second Battle Fury plus a Daedalus. Furion starts becoming a very significant split pushing function. Unfortunately, this Furion with the mech build is really not that threatening split pushing wise. Like, he summons some Treants, but he has no right-click damage of his own.
And while there's no physical damage from him, we're still back in the same problem. This is still a support profit, man. Like,
yep.
Like, it's support profit and support clockwork that just aren't giving anything.
And he's expected to try and make that transition into a semi-carry. That's never going to happen in time.
No. Like, even to get like a damage dealing profit, you need to be doing that from the very, very start.
Right. You're a hero that operates from a gold advantage, not by being a parity or behind the enemy team.
Wondering if Super's considering using his ultimate right now. Roshan's down half life points. LAI Gaming's not here just yet, but the Treant scouting out. Same with the Rockets, and yeah, he's going to. They want this Roshan dead. And his ultimate is the easiest way to make that happen. If he's fast enough, he might even be able to get up towards the high ground. As we get BKBs. This comes out from Ice. Clockwork out of 4-star himself away. Roshan still picked up by actually the Tusker. This man takes the agency more, while Ice commits the ultimate. Looked for a little bit more. The Centaur playing a nice little play there. Trying to 4-star from out to hoof stomp into Ice. And just slow the movement. That's not going to happen. The arrows cut across too, give some extra vision. There's Fiend's Grip right now. The Sleight of Fist Syrian Chain not going to work. Way! Snowball switches 2 different directions as it tried to launch itself into the Ember Spirit. Vici Gaming going to back up for now. Just a little bit of space.
Yeah, they got what they came for. Essentially,
Radiant's
there's no reason to try and force anything with the Exorcism down, so while they go ahead and just get a decent little team fight and manage to get themselves Aegis up for FY.
Surprised that 4-star. Blink Dagger, he's out a long way. Snowball, gonna drag him together. There's actually a Fiend's Grip over on the Shadow Shaman at the moment. While Fenrir gonna get shocked down. Shaman, he's still not dead yet. Finally, FY will get the kill. Hookshot will come in and lash onto XTD. And we'll go for that double edge. Able to get the kill, but they only are burning the Aegis Immortal at the moment, but they cog him up and try and lock him in. The Iron Shard's going to push him back out again while Super triggers the ultimate. You'll set revival. Nice Ice into the fight, starts beating them down, getting those Mjolnir procs off, then moves over towards the Shadow Shaman. Double kill for Ice. And he really wants this Ember. And he'll get him too. The Chrono back off cooldown again. Means it's a triple kill for Ice. The entire lineup of LAI Gaming has been wiped, 31-13.
And that's without Exorcism, too.
Yep.
Super's like, oh, sweet, I got Exorcism, guys. Where's my creep wave? Oh, wait, my creep wave isn't here yet. He's going to have to wait for it. But still, I mean, the Centaur's down for 40 seconds. The Ember Spirit in a similar situation. They can probably force some buybacks here with this push. As soon as he pops the Exorcism, expect at least the Centaur or the Ember Spirit to buy back. But apparently he's not going to go for it. I felt like they had the power to do so, but they're just going to back up, farm a little bit more. What is Faceless Void going for, by the way? Late game
refresher, I believe.
Without the Aghanims. Normally we see the Aghanims upgrade first and then the refresher, but
right now I think Ice just wants to have both of them at the same time. Like, he can jump over like he did before. You Chrono down on one hero, you get that hero kill, and then you move over to the other one. Take out 2 heroes by yourself, basically. And he knows he can do such a thing. He also knows he's the main controller for the Exorcism, so if he's able to keep that Chrono duration going a very long time, and you got some tough to kill heroes, or a couple of heroes altogether, they're going to be locked there, and Super just has to stay exactly where he is. Just Crib Swarm and let the ulti do the work.
Nice little value vitality booster. When you have this much armor like the Shiva's gives you, every bit of HP point does so much more.
Ice. There's that ulti we're talking about. XTD instantly down. Once the Death Prophet ulti also found its target, the Mass Open Wards will go down too, but Shadow Shaman, a lot of life points. Exactly, yeah, the Snowball's protecting him. He's on so low life, and now Yule Scepter up and towards the air. The Exorcism still doing its work. Super actually gets himself away from the Mass Serpent Wards. This guy has no life points. Finally, the 4-star out. XDD gets close enough to get the kill, while Mirana is beating into that poor little Clockwork. Gets the kill, moves over to Super, he needs one more attack, and he knows it as well. There it is, Super will drop to the ground, with Black picking up his own double kill. Nightmare to slow down XDD. Black can't arrow it because the treants were in the way, so there was no clear line of sight to get the hit off. But that did really show you. Snowball power directly into Yule Scepter, and then he walked himself out of the fight, because LAI Gaming have to wait. They may as well just move on to another target.
Yeah, and the only reason he died there was because he turned around and silenced up the Centaur, thinking he was going to get, you know, flanked and hoof stomped. And instead, the Centaur just forced out himself forward and got a single right click that finished him off. But yeah, I mean, it's an amazing amount of power. The one downside is that both the Yule Scepter, when you already do these invincibility frames, you can't actually target anybody with your Ghost. So the Ghost will just kind of do this random bit of damage.
Nightmare. Arrows coming in from the tree line. They weren't really ready for it, and now it's going to hit Ember Spirit pretty heavily. Mana Style will go too. They got a lot of blacks to choose from, but he already leapt himself inside the pit. And away to safety. They're checking inside the pit, dropping Sentry Wards, going maybe he used Moonlight Shadow, but when Black shows himself on the bottom creep wave, they realize not the case. And then blink over. The Ember Spirit's going to come with the Spirits, and Black shackled up, and he will go down. The Wrath of Nature ensuring they had enough damage to get through him, which actually wasn't a simple task. This guy's got both like the Helm of the Dominator as well as having a Mana Style with the Ring of Aquila. That's a lot of farm on Black.
Yeah, it really is. I feel like the Helmet Dominator is a little bit odd, but
it's stayability, I think, just so he doesn't have to always go back. Because right now, VG Gaming is surviving. Like, that's
just barely, and if they can get a pick off on Super in the bottom lane, but Shadow Shaman is already down. Good God, that exorcism. And misclick of the Yule Scepter. Well done, Super.
Whoops.
Give him the old dot.
Normally you give him 2 dots, don't you?
Well, he's either way, he's going to release his frustration on the Serpent Wards.
They will bring him down.
Extra 300 gold.
Right now, Ice is searching for a kill. He's got the refresher orb already done. As Super, hey, Courier Snipe. 2 people get the award for buying a ticket. Oh, so I saw that one. Wait. Fenrir's coming over. If he moves up just enough, yeah. Hello, Super. He's gonna sprout, but then a blink. Gets him inside, goes straight for the Fiend's Grip. He'll need a little bit of help with this one. Looks like bottom lane too. There's a Clockwork Cogs currently over on the other Super. So, battle on either side of the map. Which Super dies first? Nightmare? Slotting him down, the Death Prophet Super dies first. Then the Nightmare's just been tagged back and forward. Ice.
Oh
no, Ice. No! He had to use Refresher to go for the Chrono, or else he would have TP'd himself back to safety.
What is this clowny game?
It is, yeah, Clown is exactly it. Circus Man, the net's on fire.
I like how Ice just sat there inside the Chronosphere for a minute. It was like, go ahead, contemplate your fate.
No, he couldn't get there. He couldn't get there.
Well, no, the sprout went away eventually, and he still sat there for an extra second, which is like, take your time, take your time. Pray to your gods, make peace.
Is the sprout gone? I just want to be certain about it. Just let the saplings go back into the ground. He doesn't want to destroy the ecosystem of Dota 2.
Yeah, that's true. Very eco-friendly Ice.
I'd love to know what these guys are actually saying.
Yeah, because this, I mean, this game has always been like just as one-sided. Just LAI Gaming are doing everything they can. Like they're making all the right plays. It's just unfortunate that they started off at such a disadvantage, and their draft just naturally leans VG Gaming to a more favorable situation always. Is that LAI Gaming are forcing, like every single time they force in the bottom lane, for example, the Death Prophet ultimate to be used, even if they lost.
Black's in trouble. Hex, Centaur, the ulti, the Hoof Stomp, the Double Edge, the Shiva's Guard, and the Mass Serpent Wards. All being committed up against that Mirana.
I mean, there's a reason for like the last 15 minutes, Vici Gaming have held a gigantic gold lead. Like at 15 minutes ago, they had a 10,000 gold lead. Now they have a 25,000 gold lead, and they still haven't been able to actually take a Rax. They've gotten the tier 3 in the middle lane, but that's it. And that was a while ago that we saw that go down. And that's solely because of the fact that LAI Gaming are being ultra aggressive. They're trying to force Vici Gaming to use their ultimates defensively, trying to keep them from just 5-manning down mid, which is essentially all Vici Gaming have to do in order to win this game. Ice actually did use his refresher now and has a Chronosphere ready to go.
No, the Chrono came off cooldown.
Yeah.
Yeah, he used the refresher so he could actually get that Chrono onto the TPing out here before the Prophet.
Yeah, sorry. What I meant is his refresher is going to be off cooldown soon from when he used it earlier.
Right.
I'm on time.
Okay. Yeah, well,
But
we
the point is,
we
he's going to
both
have
are.
a double chrono soon.
I'm here for you, man. Sort of. Centaur running away.
Run,
Sort of,
Centaur.
but I'm not correcting you. He'll force stuff into the tree line and just TP himself out to safety. While Shadow Shaman's also blinked himself in here. He's actually ended up stealing, well, okay. He's got his teammates Ring of Facilities. He's just holding for him at the moment. Silence gonna go, Shiva's Guard, Black. If he can get this arrow, just a little bit of extra control on the Ember Spirit, they yields him up. Now Black, the arrow, and Chrono being committed. They want to make sure that Ember is toast, and they got him this time around.
Alrighty then.
While on bottom lane, Snowball initiation. Walrus Punch up in the air. Super's going to TP in. Shadow Shaman's already gone down because the Tuskar damage is going to TP out because they already used their Hoof Stomp.
And the slow from that attack speed slow from the Frozen Sigil also made it so hard for them to lay into that Tuskar, so they couldn't even right-click him down fast enough. Extremely smart play. We now have a full-up heart for the Death Prophet.
Look at the farm on Tuskar. This guy's got a Desolator and a Sunch.
Yeah. I mean, I guess who needs a Blink Dagger?
You're gonna get
you
to
make the transition into a semi-carry.
You're gonna get to a point where he's gonna have Heaven's Halberd, and then at that point you're gonna have like a Daedalus over on the Ember, and he cannot even attack with it because the Tuskar's gonna come to point blank range, disable him completely, and now Super's gonna have a crack at mid. They're initiating onto FY. Like, he could actually die to FY right now if he's not careful. Like, there's two of them chasing him while they're losing their mid ranks. They're just having some fun getting the kills, and then Moonlight Shadow. They got no vision for it. They triggered Wrath of Nature for that too. But their mid ranks completely gone while they're wasting time. And now Super trying to TP out. He's waiting almost the maximum time when the Snowball kills off the Nature's Prophet. And it's 40 to 18. Hookshot in on Ice. This guy, however, has BKB and Chrono. Commits the Chrono, calls Super in the edge of it. But he doesn't care. Leaps up. Wave! Wafting the Chrono. That's just forced up way. Now Ice trapped inside the Mass Serpent. Gonna beat his way out of here, however. Or maybe he won't. He gets sliced up by the Ember Spirit, and Bane also locked in position. FY will come and join the engagement, but I don't think he's understanding why they're fighting underneath the Mass Serpent Wars, but, you know, snowballed in. Who cares? Walrus punching that Nature's Prophet up into the air. Well, a double silence. Now the Ice Shards again. Four starving down. That wasn't the way XTD really thought he was going to go with that. And now the Urn Charge will tick him out. So even though Tuskar is dead, FY will get a double kill. And Ice comes back to the scene of the crime. It's a gem of true sight. He came in for it. He had the item slot for it too. Ball.
Dyer's courier has been killed.
More money being given over. As the Ember Spirit jumps back to base. Oh no, he didn't get all the way. Yule Scepter from Super. Silence on 2. The arrow, he'll be able to evade it. Shadow Shaman's going to buy back. Same with Centaur, and they got the Death Prophet locked in for the moment. Still rather tanky with that heart. Very, very tanky, in fact, with that heart. But they do kill her. But the tier 3 tower was lost, and the bottom lane and the full mid ranks are still down.
What was that? Massacre. We had 4 different buybacks. From 3 on the side of Light Gaming, and then 1 from Ice, and they grabbed Ice.
Oh, he's got to leap. He's got to leap away.
Oh, that was
BKB.
beautiful.
He's going to turn and fight. Triggers the Mask of Madness.
Chronosphere.
Yep, Chronosphere's back off cooldown. And he triggers it, but he didn't get the Shadow Shaman. Mistakes were made. He's hexing and staying in the tree line. 3 seconds until he's got leap. Whoops! That Chrono.
He's dead for 2 minutes. Like, Light Gaming can actually do Roshan off of this. And maybe,
they won Rax.
They're going to go bottom. Jesus. Ice did he just I'm not going to say he threw the game.
No, because the Tuskar's got so much farm right now that I don't think it actually matters that he's dead.
Yeah, Light Gaming are definitely still far, far behind, but there is that sliver of hope now where there really wasn't any before.
Well, Black's healing up for the moment. He'll have to come back to the engagement, like, basically right now. As the Centaur ulti, Snowball protecting Nightmare into XTD. And, well, where's your Snowball going to go? He goes a very long way away. But XTD caught inside the Fiend script. And a Super Ball back turn the ultimate on. The Ice Shards are there. A silence to stop Super from getting out of here. Not going to happen. It was still on cooldown for the moment. Well, the Snowball catches 3 heroes. And look at the speed of that ball. It's like it's going downhill. And then the Nightmare into the arrow with the Ice Shards. Super's ulti just disintegrates them up. The Tuskar was the man that actually got the kill on the Clockwork. And so much for taking the bottom racks.
It would have been nice if Clockwork used his cogs before the Snowball landed. That way the enemy is trapped inside of that cogs. And maybe they wouldn't have been able to just chase down the Ember
Super.
Spirit.
Up in the air. Battling up against himself right now. Evil Super versus good Super. You decide which is which. Ice Shards is out and the Walrus Punch Doesn't hold back. Blade Meld is not scared this Tusker. This guy is like built from Serbia. He's good to go.
Yeah,
And up they come. They're coming for the GG push.
Dire's
They force the buyback from the Ember Spirit. But LAI Gaming do not seem to want to give up. Ember comes in, but the arrow, your scepter timing a little bit off, but they still get the silence and the snowball in, and bada bing, bada pump. And GG is the call.
And would you look at that? Vici Gaming, so far ahead, display, they actually do not need Ice 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 one single bit. They defended the bottom lane push, and then pushed into the enemy base and ended the game before Ice 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 could come back up. His death for 2 minutes. Death for 2 minutes and the game ends.
Maybe
His team successful.
Maybe Ice 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 has it all planned out. It's like, if I die, they push. And then we
If I
win.
die, I'll stop leading my team into weird fights all over the place and they'll just end the game.
Maybe. Maybe.
It's all good.
The only thing I kind of want to see as a change up from LAI Gaming during the next game is maybe a little bit more standard on their drafting. Like an Aegis Prophet
Yes,
support
please.
that didn't actually jungle. Like he came to the lane to be a right clicker and do range harassment damage. Obviously didn't work. It's not the first time they've done it today.
0, 11, and 10, yeah, I would say that didn't work at all.
No, it didn't.
But yeah, I would agree. I think it's the draft that LAI Gaming just completely screwed themselves on because, again, I feel like LAI Gaming were making the right mid to late game decisions to make the best out of a really terrible situation that they cornered themselves with the draft. So,
Well, let's see if they get their their pieces back together again for game number 2. It will be coming up in a moment, and Vici Gaming with the game 1 advantage. We'll see if they can mop it up in 2-0. We'll find out soon.